Hello UG aspirants, this is Rachel here.
And this is Vachna here.
Welcome back to Envoy's podcast series.
Today we have with us Mr. Sheikh Ahmed, International Regional Manager, South Asia, Middle East, Africa, joining us from Bond University. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's pleasure is mine to be here with you.
So sir, before we start off, I would like to have a quick information about Bond University. Just give us a brief.
Okay, Bond University is one of the top universities of Australia. The university started in the year 1989. Construction started in 1987, and we had the first cohort of students, about 300 students, in the year 1989. And Bond is a private university of Australia. It's not for profit. And in terms of global ranking, we are ranked as the 43rd best university in the world among the young universities of the world. Apart from that, in the domestic ranking of Australia itself, we are ranked number 1 in Australia on a couple of factors like the student-teacher ratio, the learning support the student gets, and the infrastructure that we have, and the learning experience, student learning experience on the campus. We have been dominating the scene as number 1 university of Australia for the last 17 years in a row. And we are based in the east coast of Australia in the city of Gold Coast. And Gold Coast is one of the most sought after tourist destinations of Australia, as you may be knowing. So we get a lot of international tourists into Gold Coast, and it's a much happening place of Australia. So Bond has one of the biggest campuses in Gold Coast, and we offer programs at the undergrad, postgrad, and even PhD levels. So that's about Bond for you.
That was pretty impressive, sir. So you mentioned that we have undergrad programs. So like what specific undergrad programs does Bond provide?
Yep, it's a good question. Bond is known for a couple of very good undergrad programs, which is very specific in areas like actuarial science. So we offer a Bachelor's of Actuarial Science, and Bond happens to be one of the few universities. I guess there are about 4 or 5 universities in Australia which offer a Bachelor's in Actuarial Science, and we happen to be the only university that's based in Queensland, in the state of Queensland of Australia, offering a Bachelor's of Actuarial Science. And the other bachelor programs that are very popular among international students is a Bachelor's of Business Data Analytics, and we offer a Bachelor's in Law, which is very popular. We get a lot of international students into the Bachelor's of Law. And apart from that, we have other programs in Bachelor's of Design and Architecture, Bachelor's of International Relations, and we also have a program in Bachelor's of Biomedical Sciences, as well as Bachelor's of Health Sciences.
Okay. So you mentioned that you have actuarial science courses. Could you specify what is actuarial science?
Yeah, it's a good question. Not many students have awareness about actuarial science.
Exactly.
So actuarial science is a science of predicting a risk event from happening. That's one of the common definitions we can talk about actuarial science. The person who does in the profession is called as an actuarist, and most of them, they are employed in the insurance industry. Let me give you an example. For example, when people go to make an insurance policy, let's say I'm just giving you an example of a life insurance policy, people get different kinds of premiums to pay. Like one person may get it for $800 a year, another person get $1,200, $1,400. How are the premiums being planned for different people? Okay. So that is done based on statistical models that an actuarist use. They use statistical and mathematical models and predict from a risk event from happening. And based on that, those premiums are offered. That's a very generalized example I can give about an insurance sector. But an actuarist also works in different areas, like in socioeconomic studies, the population studies, as well as in weather patterns. And actuaries are also employed in the financial sector. They predict the performance of a stock in a particular financial market. Yeah. So it's a well-known what you call as a profession in insurance sector as well as in financial sector, and they are in big demand.
Okay, yeah. So it's like a combination of science and business analytics.
Exactly.
Damn,
Exactly.
that's great. I think that makes Bond stand out of the crowd.
Exactly. We are known for these two programs,
Yes.
the data analytics as well as the actuarial science.
Damn, that's really nice.
So sir, are there any specific requirements that one might need to get into Bond University?
Oh yeah, Bond, to be fair, Bond attracts the best of the best students to our campus. Okay. So what the easiest way to find out if the student is meeting the entry requirements for the program is to go onto the website of Bond. So you can go on to www.bond.edu.au, and when you go into the particular study area, let's say you want to study actuarial science, and you click on the undergrad program, the Bachelor's of Actuarial Science, and you have a specific tab there for the entry requirements. So when you click on the entry requirements, you need to specify the country from which you are applying. So let's say a student from India, you will say that I have completed an undergrad, year 12 from India, and then they will ask you the type of qualification you have completed. Is it a CBSE or a state board or A levels and O levels? So once you put those data in there, it gives you the information about what is the minimum requirement. So normally the undergrad programs are usually in the range of 60 to 65% from the Indian boards that the student has to score to get into an undergrad program at Bond.
Okay, that brings me to my next question. Do we also have some financial aid or like scholarships that are provided at Bond? Because I don't think not everybody can afford, overseas education. So
yeah, that's pretty correct. That most of the students from India, they always look at some kind of support, like in the form of sponsorship. Bond, so I'm sorry, not sponsorship, it's scholarships. Yeah, I do understand that, and we need to understand that Bond is very keen in attracting students of high academic achievement. And how does Bond do it? Bond offers scholarships to those students of high academic achieving. So if you have graduated with a very high academic score, we have what is called as an scholarship of excellence, international scholarship of excellence, and we give them up to 50% of scholarship in their undergrad program. So it's mainly offered to the students with a very high academic standing, and that's what makes Bond undergrad program stand out compared to the other ones. Exactly.
So like, are there any co-curricular activities, like some people who have done extraordinary co-curriculars, are there any scholarship aids for them as well?
Well, we do have scholarships for the sports and other thing, but what you need to understand is the student can apply for any one of those scholarships. He cannot have a combination of multiple ones, but he can do that. But it's a good thing. But what you need to understand is Bond also encourages a lot of sports person to apply at Bond. And to give an example, the cricketer Usman Khaja, he is a student at Bond. Oh yeah, so you must be following him now in the series against Pakistan. So he's a graduate. I mean, he's a student at Bond, and we do encourage students to with sports background to come at Bond. And Bond offers a great number of facilities for those students who come on the campus of Bond. We have tennis courts, we have rugby courts, and then we have cricket fields. So students have all those facilities on the campus to play the sports. Apart from the one that you're talking about, the extracurricular activities, we have close to about 100 plus clubs on the campus.
Wow,
so the students, so the international students who come in, they can choose the area of their interest and can join those the student clubs on the campus there.
The multiple options really help.
Exactly. So it's all the time fun at Bond campus for the students.
I'm really intrigued by the number of clubs that the university is offering. Can you have like a few names of like what exactly they're like, mood court clubs or like what sort of clubs?
One of the programs that we offer at Bond is a law program, so we also have the moot courts there.
Okay.
And those moot courts are exact replica of the courts in Australia. So students, once they graduate from Bond, they don't feel out of place when they go into an actual court when they are representing a case. Exactly. So that's one part of the law program. But apart from that, you have areas of interest that students can go into. They have rowing clubs, they have cricket clubs, they also have music clubs. They also have the language clubs, so students have a number of multiple options to go into and join one of those clubs.
So sir, as a student, once we move abroad, we do face, few personal challenges, few professional challenges. So how does, Bond help us with these challenges?
Bond recognizes this very well because the student is coming from different cultural background, comes on to Bond to do, and he's making new friends at the campus. And it's a new beginning for him in a new country. So Bond gives them the support even before they arrive in Australia. So we have the student ambassadors who are actually the current students of Bond. So they get in touch with the students who are coming to Bond much before they arrive, and they tell them about their experience of Bond life, what exactly it looks like when you be on Bond campus. Apart from that, we also have the student support services team, who contact the student before they arrive in Australia, and they tell them what to expect when they arrive, and they assist them. So when a student comes in, the first thing they are looking at is getting the CVs done for a part-time job, and then you're also looking at opening your bank accounts and accommodation, those kind of things. The student support services team gives them that support even before they arrive. So they contact them, what kind of accommodation are you looking for? They try and get them those accommodation support with them. And the Career Development Center helps them in finding those part-time jobs, making their CVs, and applying for their full-time jobs once they graduate from the program at Bond. So that kind of support is there. Apart from that, we also take our students' mental health very seriously. So we also have the mental health support for them. So the student can go and talk to those mental health support people, just in case sometimes if they feel overwhelmed with the amount of learning and the program they're going into. So we make them ease into those programs as much as possible and make the life comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, as a psychology student, I would say not much universities take mental health very seriously, and I'm glad that Bond has that.
Yes, we do that, and we take it very seriously, and that's what we make sure that every student at Bond campus feels at home all the time, and we help them in making those friends, the clubs actually, and the social activities we have at Bond. Like every Thursday, the students themselves, offer this free lunch to the other students. So those clubs offer the free lunch. So that's where they get to engage socially with other students and make friends. So we take care of it very well there.
Also, as you mentioned, so I think alumni, feedbacks are very important. Like, that's very enriching for the students to join. It just motivates and like gives like a real life picture about what the university is.
Exactly.
That's really great, I think.
So, sir, I would like to ask about, the internships. Does Bond provide any internships that, one might need, or the students that they want to probably get into? I know there's a lot of programs and clubs, but probably something else too that, they would just like to have as a part-time, or, just probably a few internships that they might join. Does Bond provide stuff like this?
Bond, the programs at Bond, mainly the masters. Let me talk to you about the masters programs. Bond masters programs, all the masters programs are 92 weeks, except when you have some of the programs like occupational therapy, or if you're doing a dual degree, then you have a 2-year program. But otherwise, majority of the Bond programs are 92 weeks. In that 92 weeks, you have 20 weeks of professional program. And that professional program can include a 20 weeks of internship. So Bond gives those internships to the students. That's like a foot in the door for them in the industry. So they gain that industry exposure, and that goes on their CV, which actually helps their employability when they graduate. That's one thing. At the undergrad level, we offer what is called as Beyond Bond program. So at Beyond Bond program, it is a program where we try and develop the personal, interpersonal skills of the students. So what we do is the student has to accumulate 100 points. And how does he do it? He can gain points by joining a club, doing some voluntary activities, doing some networking outside in the industry. So when he does engage in those kind of activities, he gains some points. So until he gets 100 points, the student cannot graduate. So what we are trying to do is, these are not credit points, these are non-credit points. So what we are trying to do is, apart from developing the academic skills, we also develop, and we also develop the soft skills of the students, which help them in their employability. So the internships that we offer in the masters and Beyond Bond program in the undergrad program actually makes the Bond graduates stand out compared to other graduates. So that's what Bond does. And you asked me a very good question, like how can students enter into Bond programs? So Envoy Overseas Education is one of the authorized representatives of Bond in Hyderabad. So students who want to come to Bond can contact them, and they would be helping them with their application at Bond, as well as helping them with their visa applications, and they can come into Bond. And we have 3 intakes in a year, one in Jan, May and September. So unlike most universities which have only 2 intakes, we have 3 intakes for the students. So they can use the services of Envoy Overseas, who are one of the best performing agents for Bond, and they could be taking help from Envoy to come at Bond.
Thank you so much, sir. This was a very informative podcast. I hope all the UGs got answers to most of their questions related to Bond University. So guys, stay tuned for our next episode.